Greetings, wonderful people, men and women of good conscience and lovers of freedom all over the globe. We welcome you back once again to our News Digest this day, Friday, the 14th day of October 2022, in the year of Elohim Chukwukika Biama Binigwe. We say good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, depending on your time zone. This is coming from the desk of Nicky Bobby, where we bring you reliable news across Biafra land. We are going speedily to bring to you the interview that Barrister Ejiofor granted. This is a post-ruling interview of the appellate courts, how they come to their conclusion, how they held their premise. I mean, the judge of these appellate courts, how he held his premise, and then came to his conclusion of the ruling between Mazen Nnamdi Kanu, the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, and the Zoological Republic. And this is what we are going to hear. In this interview, Barrister Ifeanyi Ejiofor outlined point by point and line by line what led to the ruling, and as such the things, the point that they hold before ruling this. He went on to answer questions as regard to if or should the Zoological Republic refuse to allow our leader go, what will happen? He gave us the implications of what you are expecting to hear. Let's listen to him.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen of the press, for honoring our invitation to be here this morning. We are very grateful to have you in our midst this morning once again. I want to actually use this opportunity.
The God we worship made it possible for that victory to be achieved. It may surprise you all to know that that victory came as a surprise to many people who thought that we should come cap in hand begging them for political solution. But yesterday, the General Justice of the Court of Appeal, he didn't digress to any form of they spoke nothing that the law presented before them to dedicate upon. So we are immensely grateful to God. I also want to use this opportunity to appreciate my client, my indefatigable client, Mazen Nnamdi Kanu, for being there for us, for his understanding, for his confidence and belief, and also our judgment and advice. And he has been resilient, firm, and strong. We thank God for his life. We can also thank him for his understanding once again. And I also use this opportunity to also appreciate our erudite lead counsel, Chief Michael Zekome. His presence in this case changed narratives. I call him a man of letters because I work closely with him and appreciate the type of person he is. Many may not know that a lot was done by persons who are supposed to be part of this success story to frustrate Chief Michael Zekome from giving him his best in this case. This case, he relatively done it on pro bono. Relatively did it on pro bono. Every strategy was deployed towards frustrating him, but he said no, because he's on a divine mandate. I want to appreciate him. I may not go into details, but I want to appreciate him so immensely for also believing in me too, and believing in my convictions and judgment too. I also appreciate so greatly the contribution of Her Excellency Mrs. Uchechi Kanu, the wife of Mazen Nnamdi Kanu. Her words of encouragement, wise counseling, and also believe in us throughout this terrific moment period. Even when those who are also supposed to be part of this success story we are ferociously working against us, blackmailing us, doing things possible to chase us away from this case. This woman remained firm, remained strong in her convictions and believed in us. I must appreciate her. Also, my thanks also go to my friend and also my client, Ejiofor. He's a gentleman who also believed in us. It was a very hard fight. But thank God today that we have achieved the victory, the long-awaited victory. I appreciate him too. I also want to appreciate my professional colleagues who were part of this story, this success story. The contribution of my erudite head of chambers, Barrister Mrs. Chimumeche, cannot be overemphasized. I also want to mention Master Opera, MNK Ejiofor, and of course, Ejiofor. Those who work tirelessly to ensure that we get to where we are today. Of course, I cannot conclude this piece without appreciating so immensely my wife, who has been there for me, for her prayers, and also my lovely children for their prayers. I cannot thank them all. My thanks also goes to the erudite, formidable media warriors, who has been there for us, who has been taking bullets for me in particular. When the enemies were on rampage, doing everything humanity, they were taking the bullets from me. My thanks goes to, I will single two of them out to appreciate. Not that the others didn't contribute, they did excellent work. Because when they were taking this bullet, I was busy working. I never lost focus. I was giving my best, doing all things we can, working behind the scene to ensure that we get the best results. I will not forget to mention persons like Ken Guruago. They are there for us at every given time. They were there taking bullets for us. I must appreciate them. May they remain blessed. They are too numerous to mention. They are too numerous to mention, including Mushineke, who were there praying for us. Reverend fathers, bishops, Catholic priests, and call them, name them. Traditional worshippers who are also praying to ensure that we get to where we are today. I must immensely appreciate them. It is a time to appreciate those who work tirelessly to ensure that we get to where we are today, because I know that this is the end of the game, no matter what. You all were in court yesterday to hear from the court, to listen to the judgment of the Court of Appeal. Unfortunately, those that didn't have opportunity to listen to the judgment of the Court of Appeal, we are busy discussing issues that were never mentioned. They are discussing irrelevant issues that were never discussed, even discussed by the court. It's important for me to say it. Yesterday, the Court of Appeal unanimously allowed our appeal, resolved the fundamental issues on the extraordinary rendition of Nnamdi Kanu from Kenya to Nigeria in our favor, and also lambasted the federal government for its addictive recklessness. And it's important for me to highlight this fact. The court held unanimously that the manner in which Nnamdi Kanu was abducted in Kenya and extraordinary rendition to Nigeria was in gross violation of extant laws. Particularly those laws, Nigeria is a state party. Particularly those laws Nigeria ratified, which is today in operation. I will take the privilege of mentioning some of these laws, because it's important for me to highlight it before addressing press statement of the Federation. Some of this law the court mentioned yesterday, the court also referred to Section 15 of Extradition Act, Cap E25 LFN. This section deals extensively with the procedures for extraditing a citizen from another country, which is operational in Nigeria. It's a law ratified in the country. It's a Nigerian law to Article 12, Sub 4 of African Charter of Human and People's Rights. This is a law Nigeria also violated. Also, mutual assistance in criminal matters within the Commonwealth, Enactment and Enforcement Act, Cap M24, Laws of Federation 204. This is a law operation in Nigeria. Nigeria violated it in the course of abduction and extraordinary rendition of Nnamdi Kanu. Now, also on point is Article 1312 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights 1948, and also OAU Convention on the Prevention and Combating of Terrorism, which also provide for stringent conditions to be adhered to in the extradition of a first citizen. Nigeria was in breach of these fundamental laws. Now, the court held and unanimously that the breach of this law constitutes a bar to further prosecution from Nnamdi Kanu in any court in Nigeria. The court held that the lower court has no jurisdiction whatsoever on the grounds of this. So, in the first place, if you look at the trial, to start the trial, commence the trial, a court lacks jurisdiction to defend this charge, and as such, Nnamdi Kanu should be released. Now, let me clarify. It is true, granted, that conventionally, when the defendant is discharged of offenses allegedly committed, it's expected that the state may have the right to litigate on the subject matter in exceptional circumstances. But in this case, the court proceeded to hold that in as far as there is an egregious violation of these extant laws, that no court will prosecute Nnamdi Kanu, no court will try Nnamdi Kanu. Even the lower court will not try him. So what's expected in circumstance is for the government to immediately comply with the directives and order of the court. As it stands today, Nnamdi Kanu yesterday becomes illegally held in the custody of the Nigerian government. We were expecting the order to be made available to us by 3 p.m. today, as assured by the Justice of the Court of Appeal. So we can now take the appropriate step to ensure that he's released as quick as possible. It's also good to emphasize that in a single clime where we have constitutional democracy, where the rule of law reigns supreme, it's expected without being told that the person of Attorney General of the Federation, regardless of that prejudice to this person and office occupied, should have by yesterday honorably tendered his resignation as the Minister of Federation, because he has exposed this country to ridicule. It's not in doubt that at the point Nnamdi Kanu was abducted again, because it's also important to emphasize. Just like when I listened to people analyzing this morning, God didn't say arrest. Court of Appeal in his judgment yesterday in the unanimous didn't mention arrest. They agreed up with us in totality that Nnamdi Kanu was abduction. Abduction, kidnapping was featured prominently in the judgment of the court. They agreed with us because in the manner in which he was abducted in Kenya, he wasn't arrested. Now, and it was partial to the advice of the Attorney General of the Federation that the federal government sneak into another country to abduct a citizen without subjecting him to the extradition proceedings. And on that ground alone, the federal government, the Attorney General of the Federation should have been resigned honorably without being asked, without a further prompting. I am not contesting the fact they have right of appeal to the Supreme Court. It's a constitutional right. But what is sacrosanct at this point in time is that they must wholly and in totality comply with the order of the Court of Appeal, which directed that Nnamdi Kanu should be released immediately. They will not be in breach of this order, in content of this order, and apply it to Supreme Court for review or for appeal. They must comply without further ado. So it's expected, of course, they were called yesterday to when the judgment was read. And of course, unfortunately, I believe that the learned Attorney General of the Federation, I don't think he's conversant, or maybe he has the full gist of the judgment, of the fact of the judgment delivered yesterday, because he won't be writing what he said yesterday. So the federal government is being called upon as quick as possible to comply with the order of court.
Now, it's interesting to mention to the public, to the world, this argument was extensively canvassed in our various applications, in our application before the lower court, and also on appeal. Now, in 2016, there's a thesis that was captioned United Nations Office on Drug and Crime, country office in Nigeria, published a 691 page of thesis titled Cases and Materials on Extradition in Nigeria. I have the book. Look at the book. This is the book. They call it Cases and Materials on Extradition in Nigeria. Now, it will interest the press and the world to know that in this book, these cases and materials on extradition in law, the forward to this book was written by no person than learned Attorney General of the Federation. He wrote the forward. Now, you understand, me and you understand what forward means. When a forward is written on a book, that means you sanctioned. You have gone through the content of that book and you sanctioned the content. Now, I will tell you something now, because it's important for you to know. Now, in this book, it's at pages 4 to 5 of that book. The Attorney General, that I mentioned to you, having sanctioned that book, critically condemned extraordinary rendition in this book. He critically condemned in page 4-5. I can give you, it's very, very bulky. Condemn extraordinary rendition. In his words, quote, listen to me carefully, in his word, the AG Federation Malami stated, it is easy to confuse extradition with rendition. Rendition is a general term for all procedures, including extradition, for returning wanted persons or aliens generally from a state. Unlawful or irregular forms of returning persons wanted for trial, unlawful or irregular forms of returning persons wanted for trial or punishment include abduction. In his words, include abduction, not what happened in this particular case, abduction and so-called extraordinary rendition. Now, he proceeded. Extraordinary rendition is a government-sponsored arrest. Are you with me? Kidnap and abduction of persons wanted, accused or convicted of a criminal offense, either to the state who sponsored the arrest or kidnap or abduction, or to a willing third-party state. Extraordinary rendition denies a person of the right to challenge his transfer to the requesting or receiving state. It involves the violation of the principle of international laws, especially where the persons transferred are subjected to torture. Are you with me? Or sham criminal charge or trial. The Idoko affair of 1984 is an example of an attempt at unlawful rendition. After a coup d'etat in 1983, the federal military government of Nigeria requested the British government to surrender Umar Diko, a former minister of Federation, alleged to have been involved in corrupt practices. Now, the facts of what happened in Diko's case is very clear to the world. It's a matter of common knowledge. The British government intercepted and refused the phrase and taking him away from the UK. Now, this is the wordings of AG Federation. So you won't tell me that it's not familiar with what extraordinary rendition means and the effect of it on the state. By so doing, this man has exposed the country to ridicule. And I can assure you one thing, because I'm in this case, I can assure you one thing. Some international courts where these matters are pending are waiting for court pronouncement, for Nigerian court to exhaust their legal remedies before they can embark on their own adjudication. They are waiting. And the pronouncement of Court of Appeal yesterday is apt on the point. It will entail further actions before the international court. We also entail certain persons being blacklisted, certain persons being arrested somewhere on account of the gross violation of international laws. It will happen in the course of time. Now, yesterday someone asked about the damages payable, accruable on account of this violation of Nnamdi Kanu's right. Because of course, Court of Appeal yesterday stated clearly that his right was grossly violated on account of the extraordinary rendition from Kenya to Nigeria. That may interest you to know that we have already filed an action before the Federal High Court. wherein we raise some fundamental issues. We have invited the court to interpret relevant sections of these conventions, charter, and theatres to determine whether the federal government is in breach of this law. And those questions have been answered in the affirmative yesterday, that the federal government is in breach of this law. That matter is pending before Honorable Justice Eko of Court Number 5 and is coming up for full hearing on the 14th day of December 2022. And in that case, what we'll be asking for now, the matters having been determined, major issues that are raising before the court to determine upon, to pronounce upon, have been determined by Court of Appeal. We're asking for court to award damages in the sum of 50 billion against the federal government in compensation of as reparation for broad violation of Nnamdi Kanu's right. So it's important to highlight this part. So the court didn't also condemn the executive recklessness yesterday. The court didn't stop at declaring that the lower court has no jurisdiction to attend the charge. The court also, the pronouncement of court yesterday, constitutes a further ban. You understand what I mean by constitution of a further ban? So as it stands today, no Nigerian court will ever try Nnamdi Kanu. No Nigerian court will ever entertain any charge today, as far as this matter is concerned, or any other matter is concerned, without determining the manner in which he was brought into the country. And thankfully, yesterday the Court of Appeal have resolved that issue. That judgment is a watertight judgment. You can agree with me. You were here yesterday. It's a watertight judgment, and I don't know how they are going to escape from it. But what you are calling the federal government to do in the present case is to immediately comply with order of court judgment without prejudice to expressing the person of attorney general. It's important at this point. Something that should be within that period. And the matter adjourned for trial to October 17th, 2017. You and I, all of you here, the pressmen, witnessed what happened between 10th and 14th of September 2017. His premises was invaded on 10th, first invaded on 10th. 3 persons were killed by Nigerian soldiers. Then on 14th, they now wait for him. During this bloody invasion, over 28 innocent and unarmed civilians were murdered, were killed, brutally killed. Now, in an attempt, they weren't killed because they want to kill them. They were killed because they were desperately hunting for Nnamdi Kanu to kill him. Then, by sheer act of providence, Nnamdi Kanu not only escaped being killed. Now, it's elementary part of our law, legal jurisprudence, or criminal law, that when a person is facing a trial, assuming you are charged with offense of stealing. Let me just bring it to a level you understand, and also for AG to understand too. Assuming you are charged with offense of stealing, and in the course of enjoying bail granted by the court, you committed another offense, probably offense of armed robbery. There's no law that says that you will not be arrested on account of that offense. And it's easy for them, particularly when you are facing prosecution. They will simply, what Nigerian security agents does is for them to come to the court and wait for you on the day of trial. I will have cases of that nation, plethora of cases of that nation. They will come to that court, arrest you, or they will even file a fresh charge. Why they will arrest you is for them to interrogate you on the new offenses, then before they will file a fresh charge. Now, assuming without considering to the fact that the federal government actually wanted any form of prosecution in this case, would they have gone to Nnamdi Kanu's house on 14th of September to kill him? The answer is no. They were waiting for him to come to court on October 17th, 2017, to continue his trial. And probably during that period, they will arrest him and investigate him on fresh offense, assuming if he had committed no offense unto law. You have investigate him on the fresh offenses, probably and file fresh charge. And Nnamdi Kanu was ready. He has announced he has passed through pre-trial briefing and conference, preparatory for trial, fixed for 17th of October. Now, second question: had it been the federal government succeeded, God forbid, in killing Nnamdi Kanu on the 14th of September 2027, will we be talking about this charge today? The answer is no. Now, Nnamdi Kanu, when he surfaced in Israel, state of Israel, he posted an affidavit of facts, stating the facts of what happened in his premises, how he escaped, and in that affidavit, which is now before the public, he made it very clear in that agreement that he's ready to come back for his trial, but he needs protection from court. You need court to assure him and give him protection, and assure him that of his protection for him to come back for his trial. This affidavit was filed in court, stating, urging the court to take the application for court to understand, inquire into what happened in his premises on the 14th of September. It was filed in court sometime that same 2017, but the court didn't hear that application. It was still filing. He didn't hear that application till this year, and at subsequent adjournment, we kept on bringing the fact of that application before the court. That application was not heard until few months back this year when he was brought to Nigeria. He was forcefully brought to Nigeria. I wasn't had it. Now the count is not in Kenya. He found himself in Kenya or part of Nigeria because of an desperate attempt by the federal government to kill, assassinate him. The law is clear. This international laws we enumerated is clear. That now you want to arrest him, right? That law, the first count charge you're talking about, which he was facing before an attempt was made at killing him. We have gone on now. If at all they have submitted into traditional proceedings in Kenya. Are you getting the point I'm making now? Did you know? If they had submitted Nnamdi Kanu to extradition proceedings, then he will go through the proceedings, and at the end of the day, if the court in Kenya found him liable, he has to come back to Nigeria to face trial. Section 15 of the extradition act says that if he's coming back to Nigeria, he's going to face the trial on that 5-count charge. Now, because they didn't subject him to extradition proceeding, recognized under international laws and covenants and charter conventions, they abducted him, they kidnapped him in Kenya, then brought him to Nigeria. Now, what the court is saying, in view of what you have done, you cannot try him again. He cannot be tried. Even on that 5-count, he cannot be tried again. That's what the court says. Because he cannot put something on nothing and expect it to stand. It must fall. The foundation has been spoiled. You cannot build on a shaky foundation. So that 5-count, any count 5 charge he was facing before an attempt was made at killing him can no longer prevail in the circumstance. Because said, take him back, he has to go. Go back. As he stands today, he cannot face any charge. He's barred from being prosecuted in Nigeria in any court. Whether it's court in Adamawa, or court in Lagos, or court in Anambra, or court in Oburusuzo, or whatever you call them, or Maya. He cannot face any trial again. So, and I believe, and I want to believe too, that the Attorney General Federation is, I can assure you 100% they can't try it. Because the consequences will be so dire, it will be so serious. Already they're in trouble. They're in trouble before the international community. And the best thing for them to do now is just to salvage their money, just to release them the Canada. If they want to go to Supreme Court, I have no problem with that. But they must, as a matter of urgency, comply. They must obey the order. This is not the law of High Court. It's not of Court of Appeal. I know what it means. So they must obey it. They can go to an appeal. Go on appeal. We have no problem. But before going to appeal, we must obey the order of the court. They can't hold our client illegally in the custody. When the Court of Appeal has declared his detention illegal, detention and arrest illegal, prohibits them from the Court of Appeal prohibited them from detaining him henceforth. I expected them to have called me this morning to come over, but I'm waiting for. Let me just pick up the judgment so I can go and meet them. So if they said they will not obey that order, all of us are going to die naked in public. There's no going back about it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Barrister, for educating us on this. There is no point deliberating more on that. We are going to wait and see what will happen, what tomorrow will bring, as soon as you present the documents before the FG. Let's see what is going on. Wonderful people, we thank you for listening. Of course, we said that we are Biafrans. No matter what's happened, we are extremely happy for this latest development. We must continue doing our best. We believe that it is in Biafra land that all of us have our citizenship, and until Biafra is fully restored, we will not rest. May you remain safe wherever you may be, and continue your journey to fight for the freedom of our people.